to our video on Barbarian Invasions, where we're going to look at what life was like after Rome fell. So firstly, we're going to look at the word barbarian, look at the different cultures in Europe, and also talk about how cultural interaction and conflict caused change throughout Europe during the Middle Ages. So firstly, barbarian. The definition usually means a member of a community or tribe not belonging to one of the great civilizations. I'm going to go with great civilization because that's how they saw themselves. It's not how they actually were seen. But typically this means Greek, Roman, and Christian civilizations. They saw themselves as enlightened, thoughtful, and they saw the other groups as barbarians, people they could not understand, and they heard other things or couldn't understand what they said or their ways of life. In reality, there are many complex cultures that made up the barbarians. They simply just lived on the edge of literate society. The people who actually wrote stuff down perceived these barbarians differently than they actually were. We actually owe a lot of innovation to the barbarians, and they really changed the world during the Middle Ages. So for your homework, or for your first shout out, pause the video, and we're going to define the word barbarian. Pause and think about it for a moment. And if you said societies who were not Greek, Roman, or Christian, that would be correct. Or people who fought with literate society, the people writing history were their enemies, so barbarians come off looking negative. So, if we look at a map of Europe and all the different cultures, there were many different tribes claiming different areas. Before this, Rome mostly controlled Europe. They had driven all these tribes back. With the fall of Rome, it got broken up to lots of different groups. So suddenly, it was a lot more complex and diverse. And of course, all these groups had a history of conflict. And of course, Rome had fallen. And with the end of Roman rule, new European kingdoms were made. And because these new kingdoms were made, they were able to actually contact new people. And these new people got new ideas. So as a result, Christianity spread outside of Rome, and a lot of new ideas came outside of Rome. And we actually owe a lot of our changes. The languages we speak today, a lot of different innovations. The wearing of pants was a barbarian thing. Before that, Romans believed a man would wear a cloth or a toga. And this became the standard. So I want you to stop and think about the term barbarian. Is it a fair way to describe the cultural groups in the early Middle Ages?